my advice or something that I have realized is that you need to feel your feelings. Yeah. Something, this is so weird because I'm a really talkative person, I'm like a friendly person. However, when I'm feeling like sad or down, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna cry a little, and then let's just keep going, because you need to vocalize, you need to give the space of those feelings. Like, it's something that has worked a lot for me, because once I accept what is going on, I feel that I'm not like carrying that weight in the same way.
Hi, and welcome back to Reach for Wellness. This is the show where our guests come on and talk about how they reach for their own wellness and their mental health. I'm your host, Vanessa Alarcon. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a licensed addictions counselor, and I'm a program manager here at Community Reach Center. Today's episode, I'm excited to have Grecia Morgado, who is a marketing specialist on the marketing team. Grecia, welcome. Did I get your title right?
Yes, you did.
Oh, good.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Yeah, no, this is going to be so good, because today we're really in the festive, we're really focused on the festive time. And as you can see here, we have all this like decoration, because 'tis the season.
I know, yeah, and you can feel it.
Yeah, no, and this is such an exciting time for a lot of people, and for other people it could be maybe not such an exciting time.
Yeah,
but before we
exactly.
get into the holidays, Grecia, tell us a bit about yourself. Who are you, and how do you celebrate this time of the season?
Well, so as you said, I'm Grecia Morgado. I work here in Community Reach Center. I'm part of the marketing team, marketing and communications, and I've been here for this is my second season at CRC. I'm from Mexico, so how do I spend this time of the year? I'm a people person. I love to be around people. I'm from a big family, so this season is it's not as cold as is here in Mexico, because that's another important thing for what we are going to talk today. So I'm from south of Mexico, from a really, really warm place. So now that I've been living in Denver for the last 3 years, it has been a little challenging for me adapting to the culture and the weather, and I've been away from family and everything. But I just try to enjoy my friends and the people that I have here, and stay in touch with my family in Mexico.
Yeah, no, I mean, South Mexico, paradise. That's what
it is. Yes, you get the beach, you get all the good. It's like the best thing.
Yeah, no. So I imagine, especially being from such a lovely place. Also, yeah, I mean, you mentioned a few things, like what does it mean to be far away from home? On top of that, you have holiday seasons that it sounds like you typically would spend with family, and now that's changed and that's different.
Yes, it is completely different. I try to go when I can, but I've been in the States for 5 years, and I've been spending 3 holiday seasons with my family. But the year that I didn't spend it with my family was like very rough, because it was the first time being away from home and everything. However, I have learned to cope with this season and like all these things that you can miss. Especially again when you have traditions and things like that. But I think, at least for me, the key is gratitude, like staying in touch with them, like just feeling grateful for the things that you have. So it has been a learning thing.
Yeah, and imagine that it took maybe more than one holiday to really come to terms with what that's like. So you've mentioned a few things. You mentioned that it's been a tough transition, but you also mentioned gratitude as one of the first things that's been helpful for you. So was gratitude something that just came over time, like something you realized that you needed more of? Or how did you come to terms that that's really what you were needing?
I think like the older that you get and the more experience that you live, you learn to see like all the good things that you have in your life. Like, for example, for me it has been, I'm not with my family, but I have these other opportunities. Like, you don't get to see the snow in Veracruz, where I am from.
That's true.
Yeah, even when you have the beach and everything, like you don't get to see those things. So I think it has been like a nice path to walk in, because again, it's not something that I born with, the gratitude side, but it's something that I have been learning, and I have been just sharing with others. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, as you're saying that, it makes me think about people who also may have similar experiences, even if it's not necessarily like being away from family in a different country, but you know, maybe a student who's studying abroad, or a family member passed away in the last year. So it's the first time they're experiencing the holidays without some of those close people among, or maybe there has been like a family member, or there has been like estrangement that happens in the family.
Yeah, I think that there are some stuff that you can avoid. Again, as I said, the more that you growing up or getting older, the more that you experience. And I know, as I said, I'm a people person, but I also know that there are people that are not just like that maybe they struggle in different sides. And I think my advice, or something that I have realized, is that you need to feel your feelings. Yeah. Something, this is so weird because I'm a really talkative person, I'm like a friendly person. However, when I'm feeling like sad or down, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna cry a little, and then let's just keep going, because you need to vocalize, you need to give the space of those feelings. Like, it's something that has worked a lot for me, because once I accept what is going on, I feel that I'm not like carrying that weight in the same way. So I think that's something that really works very well, because again, you cannot just let those bad feelings to like take power in your body, in your mind. And once you start realizing, like, okay, this is something that is going on and it doesn't feel right, it's okay. Cry, do whatever it makes you, like, take it out of you.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because the therapist inside of me is thinking about how sometimes trying to be happy can be a trap. So like, I'm just gonna be happy, so I need to just like forget about what I'm feeling or push it aside. But really what you're saying, Grecia, and what is so true, it's better to come and accept what you're feeling. If you're feeling sad, name it, acknowledge it, tell someone how you're feeling. And usually that's the beginning of a release to actually getting to a point where someone feels better.
Yeah, and I feel that there is a misconception in gratitude, because probably people can get confused, like, oh, I have to be grateful all the time for these things. And there's some stuff that it's just life. And here we are, and yeah, life is tough, but also it's beautiful. So just like try to feel your feelings, and then just keep going, and everything will be all right. And that has helped me a lot, especially during this winter season, that again, me being from a really hot place and then coming here and seeing the snow, and today is snowing and tomorrow I'm still seeing the snow, and the day after and it's like, oh my gosh, please someone help me. But it's like, okay, it is what it is. I just have to keep going.
Yes, and you mentioning weather is so important too, because the sun, even and it is sunshiny, or it's sunny. I don't know why sunshiny came out. It is sunny in Colorado, but even then, like being around cold, or when there are dark and gloomy days, that absolutely impacts our emotional well-being. And so sometimes being aware of how that impacts you. When I went to college, I was out of Colorado, and for months it would just be like dark around the winter time, and you don't really realize it until you step out of that, because you kind of get used to it. And I went to visit the other a couple years ago, and I was like, it's dark, like where is the sun? But it totally impacts our well-being.
Yeah, I bet you have heard about seasonal affective disorder. That's something that I experienced the first 2 years here in Denver, because for me it was like everything shiny
Sunshiny?
Sunshiny, yes, rise and shine. So then when I realized about, I mean, this was like a new world to me. The first time here, I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then I started to feel like down. I was feeling blue, like sad. And I was like, what's going on? This doesn't usually happen to me. And then I realized I started looking on the internet, of course, and I learned about seasonal affective disorder, that this is this kind of depression that some people experience during these months, especially in these cities like, not Denver, because as you said, we get a lot of sun during the year, but like northern in this country and in other countries as well.
Yes, yeah. So what helped you? So you started feeling it, and then you were Googling it or looking online. So what ended up helping you?
So at the beginning, I just started like isolated myself, and then it's when I realized that something wasn't good on me. So what I started doing is like, okay, what can I do during winter time here? I don't know how to ski. I don't know how to snowboard. I don't know like how to live in the snow. I don't know how to drive. So I was like, okay, but I know how to watch a movie. I love movies, so I know how to make popcorn. So I was making popcorns and chocolate, and just like getting these little things that make me feel better, like make me feel warm. I started. And then it's when gratitude starts. Like I started FaceTiming or like video calling my family, like having conversations with them, because I didn't usually do that in the past. Yeah. And after experiencing this seasonal affective disorder, I was like, okay, now I'm so grateful for technology that I'm able to do this. And
that's true.
And that's like kind of the things that have helped me. I started taking vitamin D because I was like, a friend of mine told me, well, if you are not exposed in the sun, try to take vitamin D, which it's like a booster, or it helps you, like it gives you the vitamin that you get from the sun, so that it's now that is part of my daily things to do in the mornings. I take my vitamin D, and yeah, that's how I started coping with these feelings.
Okay, well, and those are a few ideas, right, that someone could consider for themselves and whatever makes more sense for them and their body and their health. But yeah, no, definitely finding those gratitude. And you mentioned something that I think is a good thing that I would want people to take away from this episode, is that sometimes we just have to try new things, new traditions.
Yes.
It can be hard, especially when we have emotional things tied. People were tied to certain things we've done in the past, or literally in a different country. But sometimes it's about, okay, what is now a new tradition? What is now something I can do?
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be something big, because, for example, another thing, I love hiking. So summertime was amazing, but then when winter hit, I was like, now what I'm going to do? And I was trying to experience big things that Coloradians people do, and I was like, that's not, like, I cannot do that. However, I can go for a walk. It doesn't have to be something big. It doesn't have to be like, oh, okay, now I'm going to try to do this ski, something like that. No, like you can just go for a walk. Like you can just like try painting, like some little steps that are going to make you feel better.
Yeah, and there are things, especially I do think that's like a Colorado thing too sometimes, because people will be like, oh, are you going to the slopes? And it's like, well, you know, maybe some people want to go do winter snow activities, and some people, like, that's just not their thing.
Yeah.
So there's other things, like you can pick up baking. There's also like winter fashion's fun too, like for people that like fashion, right? But it is fun. I mean, there's just lots of different ways to get creative around this time.
Yeah, and it's even if we think in the opposite way, if it's in like you are from a cold place and you move to the beach or something like that, it's like just try what I said, like try to recognize those feelings, like what is hurting, what makes you feel sad, and how you can little by little, or like take baby steps to try to feel better. And I think like one of the signs that I was able to see in my situation was like isolation.
Yeah.
Isolation. I know that some people probably they are not as interactive as I am, but again, like nobody knows you better than you. So just like try to take an eye on yourself, like look out for yourself, and once you can check these boxes, okay, if you're not checking one box, it's because something is wrong. So okay, what can I do? Like what kind of things can I do?
And the best part is everyone's different. So when we work for someone else may not work for you, so you can find what works best for you. So.
Yeah, and there are a lot of resources out there. Like you can just go on internet and try to find so many resources, like websites, like we have 988. Like there are so many resources that we can use that you don't need to go out of your house to start doing these things for yourself, to take care of yourself.
Yeah, well, that's lovely, Grecia. You went all like comprehensive, from how someone could feel different on the holidays to even like we're not alone. So like if someone was having thoughts and maybe feeling like they were in a crisis, they could reach out to 988 in lots of different ways. If it's through a text message or a phone call, yeah, it's available to everyone. So thank you so much for taking time to talk through different ways someone can navigate the holidays and how you've reached for wellness in that time. Is there something that I haven't asked about that you're like, oh, you know, I want to mention that, or have we hit everything?
Well, I just would like to say everyone that you are not alone. Yeah. Like there is always, like even we said in Spanish, like after the storm, the rainbow is gonna come out. So you are not alone. Like just try to reach out people, try to vocalize your feelings, try to talk to someone, like even not probably a stranger, right? But like just try to vocalize or write it down. Like writing, it helps a lot. Try to find this help, because out there are a lot of resources. There are people that are experiencing similar things than you, and even if they are, it doesn't mean that it's better for them. Like your feelings, you need to recognize that your feelings are valuable. They are unique, and you are not alone.
Yeah, I love that. That's a beautiful way to end. And if someone's maybe having a really happy holiday season, you know, and you know someone may be struggling or in a tough time, that's also a way we can also give back, right? So if we know someone's struggling, you know, reach out. Well, Grecia, thank you so much for being here, and cheers to the holiday season.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Reach for Wellness. We'd love to hear what you thought about today's episode or what really resonated with you. So DM us at Community Reach Center. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and on LinkedIn. And for this podcast episode, you may be watching us on YouTube or on your favorite podcast platform. So download, subscribe these episodes. They are on Apple Podcasts and also on Spotify or wherever else you listen to podcasts. We also have a new episode coming up where we will have someone from Community Reach Center, Jess, coming on to talk about how she reaches for wellness in the new year. So we hope you're able to tune in to future episodes, and we'll see you next time.